right now on News Channel 8 at 11.
Historic.
Hurricane Michael is the worst storm that the Florida Panhandle has ever seen.
Look at this. This is nature's fury.
Catastrophic. Deadly.
Devastation. This is total devastation.
Hurricane Michael has moved out of Florida, but the process to rebuild the Panhandle in the wake of this awful disaster is only just beginning.
Floridians are strong. Floridians are resilient. We will recover, and we'll do it together.
Good evening. I'm Jennifer Lee.
And I'm Keith Kate. Thank you for joining us tonight. We have been keeping a close watch on this Hurricane Michael since it formed. And tonight we are getting a firsthand look at the widespread devastation that it caused. With most roads in the Panhandle impassable right now, the best way to see just how bad the damage is from high above with a drone. Just look at this. Roofs ripped off, building after building destroyed.
The images are absolutely incredible. The bird's eye view, stunning. And on the ground, we continue to see more devastation.
And we have live team coverage tonight from the Panhandle all the way down to Anna Maria Island. We're going to begin with NBC's Wendy Woolfolk, who is live in Tallahassee right now.
We've seen widespread damage and massive power outages, and that's likely to get worse as Michael moves north.
Hurricane Michael leaves behind a path of devastation.
Utter destruction. Utter destruction. As I said, there's going to be a lot of good people hurting.
Hurt by the most powerful storm ever to hit the Florida Panhandle.
And I'm trying to clear the roadway for the emergency vehicles to get through.
Every small effort crucial for what will be a monstrous task ahead.
We will be sending help from air, land, and sea. This includes thousands of responders for power restoration, medical search and rescue, law enforcement, food and water distribution.
Critical resources in the aftermath of a catastrophic storm surge. Destructive winds up to 155 miles per hour that ripped off roofs and tore down power lines. And flooding that left neighborhoods under feet of water. But Michael isn't finished.
North Carolina is staring down another powerful hurricane. Less than a month after Hurricane Florence battered our state.
A storm the entire Southeast not likely to soon forget.
Hurricane Michael has already claimed one life. Florida's governor says now the focus is on search, rescue, and recovery here. That's the latest in Tallahassee. I'm Wendy Woolfolk. Now back to you.
Hurricane Michael's fierce winds and life-threatening storm surge left behind some extensive damage, as you've seen.
News Channel 8's Corey Davis rode out the storm in Panama City Beach and headed out tonight to get a first-hand look at that devastation.
Right now we are traveling around Panama City with crew members and volunteers with America's Cajun Navy, known for rescuing people. They're telling us that they've already seen houses without roofs and flattened homes as well. The damage after Hurricane Michael around Panama City is disturbing. Power lines down everywhere, scattered around like matchsticks. We hopped on with America's Cajun Navy, the group in town from Lafayette, Louisiana, hoping to help anyone they can. The view from their military-grade vehicle, unbelievable. A Firestone auto shop, destroyed. Within minutes, we came across the first person. And then came more, this time a couple with 2 young boys and a friend on a walk more than 14 miles long.
I'm very, very blessed. I'm very thankful. We've been walking long ways. We've been in water up to our waist. It's been crazy out there.
They say part of the roof at the shelter they were staying at ripped off.
It's very bad out there. We just left the shelter, and it's no power. Everything's just, it's real bad.
Then we caught a glimpse of the American flag. Jordan Cohn carrying it after riding out the storm at an animal shelter with his cats and now checking on family.
I was walking here and I saw the flag on the ground and I was like, well, that's not all right. So I picked it up and then people started kind of honking.
And he made people feel much better. They need anything positive to cling to. One last good deed. The crew moved more debris, clearing the way for those trying to get back home. In all, these guys helped more than 22 people so far, and they plan to keep pushing on in days to come. In Panama City, I'm Corey Davis.
And this is how powerful Michael's nearly Category 5 winds were. Just about every single window of the First Federal Bank in Panama City is blown out. Remarkable. The damage in Panama City is also heartbreaking. You can see pieces of homes stripped from their structures. Lots of destruction down this stretch of roadway.
We want to check in right now with Storm Team 8 Chief Meteorologist Steve Jervy, who has an update for us on Michael, which is still out there.
It still is in the central part of Georgia. Some local effects here. We're seeing some stronger wind gusts as a result of the storm here in the Bay Area. Winds are coming in here from the south, so there still are some small effects. Hurricane Michael, though, has 75-mile-per-hour winds. Is still holding on to hurricane status. Still somewhat of a tornado threat. Still have tornado watches in place for the eastern parts of Georgia. And also you can see how the line of showers continues to move to the northeast. So the stronger wind gusts are still here across the central part of Georgia. Macon, Warner Robins, this is all moving in that direction, but drying out on the southern side. Still have some strong wind gusts, but the advancing section of the storm is probably the most dangerous at this point. A look at the forecast track here for the system. It is a Category 1 storm now. It's traveled about 160 miles since it made landfall, with 155-mile-per-hour winds shortly after 2 o'clock today, and moving rapidly off to the northeast through South Carolina, North Carolina, hopefully weakening along the way. Hate to see more damage in North Carolina, especially since what they've been through this year. The storm final track is very close to the United Kingdom, so it's a very long way away, caught up fast in those upper level winds. We'll have more and look at the forecast too. Some drier air locally coming up.
Meantime, in Citrus and Hernando counties, most residents there are breathing a sigh of relief.
They certainly are. Hurricane Michael has passed, but it may be a little too early to say there was no damage. News Channel 8 Chip Osowski joins us now live from Pete's Pier in Crystal River, where the water is slowly retreating back into the Gulf, right?
Slowly was the key word. Actually, when we arrived here just a few hours ago, the water was all the way up to my ankles here in this parking lot. Then the wind shifted directions, and now, as you can see, the water is finally on its way out. This is Pete's Pier in Crystal River. You'll have to trust me on that one because the pier itself is still underwater.
Well, I actually work here during the weekends, and I wanted to come out and see what the damage was.
Michael Radford brought his family to see what, if any, damage Michael left behind. Hours after the storm passed, the parking lot was still underwater, and the boats appeared to be floating dangerously close to that parking lot.
Surprised? I am kind of sort of surprised. Yeah, I didn't expect to get this. I mean, because we was only going to get brushed by the storm.
In Hernando County, several streets, including Pine Island Drive, remained underwater and closed to non-local traffic. But most people who live in this neck of the woods say that's the price you pay for living in paradise.
I got hit with no-name storm real good back was 93, 94. I got 3 feet of water in the house then. So it's once you get it a couple of times and get water, then, you know, like I say, you get used to it.
And at this hour, no reports of major damage in Citrus or Hernando counties, but that could easily change first thing tomorrow morning as the sun comes up. Reporting live in Crystal River, I'm Chip Osowski, News Channel 8.
Citrus County schools are closed tomorrow for students and for staff. Schools in the area are being used as shelters. We still don't have word on when school will reopen.
Over the past several weeks, we've talked a lot about this red tide crisis, and many people were hoping that the Hurricane Michael would help get rid of the red tide algae bloom that's been killing all those fish, tons of fish across our area.
Tonight, we, in fact, are finding out that may not actually be the case. News Channel 8's Peter Bernard is on Reddington Beach, where he's discovered a large fish kill.
The smell along Reddington Beach is awful. It's the smell that beachgoers have come to dread. It's the smell of red tide. Hundreds of dead fish are lining the shore near Gulf Boulevard and 160th Street. Like we've seen many times before, they appear to be victims of the red tide outbreak. There are small fish and large fish that are washed up to the embankments. We spent the evening just up the coast in Clearwater, where Hurricane Michael is still posing a threat. Heavy surf and the possibility of rip currents has the red flags flying on Clearwater Beach. Hurricane Michael is still stirring up trouble at this famous Gulfside destination. While some came to snap a picture to document the historic hurricane's effects, others chose to test out their skills.
There's only so many days you can get break in Tampa.
so gotta capitalize on those.
With lifeguards trying to keep track of heads in the water, surfers tried to catch the unusually large waves.
Oh, it's rough. Kind of scary. Came back in, so I don't want to get stuck out there too long.
An occasional downpour emptied most of the beach, but most returned to witness the effects from the storm.
The waves aren't that crazy. It's just they keep dragging us right. Before we know it, we start over there, we're by the pier.
Concerns about storm surge are not completely gone. Each high tide brings another round of worry. When the lifeguards went home, Clearwater police patrolled the shore, trying to make sure everyone who got in the water got out. It's possible these fish simply washed ashore from out in the Gulf, or it could be that the red tide is now in full tilt mode because of Hurricane Michael. On Reddington Beach, Peter Bernard, News Channel 8.
Manatee County dodged the brunt of Hurricane Michael, but officials still warn folks to stay away from Anna Maria Island as that storm pushed through.
News Channel 8's Victoria Price continues our team coverage tonight to show us how not everyone heeded that warning.
Hey, good evening. Rough surf, strong winds, and high tides have officials calling beach conditions here very dangerous. Parts of Anna Maria Island saw flooding both today and yesterday, but before the storm surge rolled in, the tourists did too.
Perfect timing.
Hurricane Michael making for a last-minute, unexpected guest for the families vacationing on Anna Maria Island.
It's incredible to watch.
The island on a storm surge watch Wednesday as the monster storm pummeled the Gulf Coast. Its normally serene beaches were anything but, with white-capped waves crashing onto shore.
The beaches were just worn away last night. That was amazing. Scary, but amazing. We stayed back.
Diane Marsh and her husband are visiting from Kentucky and say they're trying to make the most of it. They briefly set off in kayaks before a change of heart brought them back to shore.
And we're only here till Friday, so we're just taking our moments when we get them.
Corey Killian has lived here most of his life and doesn't think the storm scared too many visitors away.
It seems about the same than last year.
The island providing a front row seat to witness Michael's fury from a comfortable distance.
To me, it's very exciting to be able to enjoy it and still feel safe.
Anna Maria Elementary was closed today because of flooding concerns, but we're told school will be back to normal as of tomorrow. Reporting from Anna Maria Island, Victoria Price, News Channel 8.
Tonight, the Bay Area is ready to help the Panhandle recover from Hurricane Michael. A task force of 72 first responders from Hillsborough County Fire Rescue, Tampa Fire Rescue, and St. Petersburg Fire Rescue are headed to Apalachicola and the St. Marks River area. They're planning to help with search and rescue operations there. The deployment could last up to 2 weeks.
We have much more coverage of Hurricane Michael ahead.
Coming up next, we'll check in on Tallahassee to see how the state's capital city is faring after the monster storm tore through there.
And here's a live look at Michael on the satellite right now. Storm Team 8 is working around the clock to help keep you informed about Hurricane Michael. We'll have another update from Steve Jervey in just a few minutes.
Here's another look at Hurricane Michael on radar right now. It is still a very strong storm. Your Storm Team 8 forecast is just a few minutes away.
Nearly 390,000 people are without power in the Florida Panhandle right now. Search and rescue teams are expected to be out much of the evening surveying the damage. Our Capitol Bureau reporter Jake Stofan continues our team coverage tonight from Tallahassee.
There are more than 60,000 people here in the capital city without power tonight. You can see why behind me. There are trees down everywhere. We caught up with Mayor Andrew Gillum as he and we were out surveying damage. He says it's going to be a while before they know how long it will take to get the power back on.
Is it as bad as you thought it was going to be?
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, it could certainly have been a lot worse, but really damage and impact depends on the eye of the beholder. If you're in this neighborhood, in this community, you don't know if you fared so well. We've been in various parts of our city. We've seen a lot of down trees, a lot of down lines. Our utility crews, the one I'm in right now, are now doing observations. They're walking the lines and driving the lines and also driving our transmission lines to get an assessment of what the impact is to the system. I'm waiting on that report because that will tell us a lot. That will tell us about how quickly we can get back up and going.
So you don't know that yet?
We don't know that yet.
Well, Tallahassee appeared to dodge a very big bullet. Counties south of us did not fare so well. We'll know more about the damage there when tours can be made tomorrow. Reporting from the state capitol, Mike Vasalinda, News Channel 8.
And tonight, President Donald Trump says he is closely monitoring Hurricane Michael's impact on Florida. The president says he hopes to visit Florida's Panhandle region early next week to tour the damage. Several states are at risk for damage. Alabama, Georgia, the Carolinas, and Virginia may also face widespread power outages. Florida's U.S. senators are confident that FEMA is equipped to handle the situation.
So I believe there's sufficient funds to get us through the next few months. Part of it there'll have to be an assessment of what the damages were.
There are 2 military bases in Alabama and Georgia that they are pre-positioned so they can get in quickly. So FEMA is prepared.
Both senators say they will be in the Panhandle over the next few days.
Now, Max Defender 8, the radar built for Tampa Bay weather, and your Storm Team 8 forecast with Chief Meteorologist Steve Jervey.
Still feeling the effects on Max Defender 8 from Hurricane Michael on the live sweep. Very light showers are moving rapidly off the Gulf. Very light stuff. These are not big thunderstorms, brief passing showers, maybe a few wind gusts as well. They're all over Citrus, Hernando, Pasco, through Pinellas County as well. So a little passing shower like this, that's certainly possible coming off the Gulf, and a few light showers too kind of drying up there, it looks like, into sections of Highlands County. So Michael turned out to be a historic storm in terms of pressure, the 3rd lowest pressure for a landfalling U.S. storm. Labor Day, Camille, Andrew, all Category 5 storms. This very close to Category 5 strength. Of course, a lot of assessment will go on. So yes, this was an extremely dangerous storm today and continues to cause problems for sections of Georgia. It's rolling off to the northeast at 20 miles per hour, very fast forward speed. Of course, deprived of moisture coming from the Gulf or a little bit from the Atlantic too. You can see this little rain band tapping into some of that moisture, the warmer waters of the Atlantic. So barely hurricane status. We hope it continues to weaken. Still, though, causing a lot of rain and wrapping a lot of those rain bands into the Atlanta metro area. Look at Hurricane Michael and the movement again. 75-mile-per-hour winds. Category 1 storm will be a tropical storm before too long and then move rapidly out into the Atlantic. Our next high tides, want to go over this because we'll still watch them, but I think we may have had our higher high tides, but the winds still coming on shore. We'll still have to watch, especially in Crystal River and Hudson here coming up in the early morning hours, then again in the afternoon. Clearwater Beach at 12:46 a.m., and then again in the afternoon at St. Pete at 4:56, but as I mentioned, diminishing. But with that onshore flow, and especially if the winds are still up a little bit, it can be stronger. At Bayshore at 5 p.m. in the afternoon, upcoming tides, 2:28 a.m. at Port Manatee, around 1 o'clock in the morning at Anna Marie, and then farther south in Sarasota, 1:31 a.m., and in Venice, 12:39 a.m. The winds are south. They'll eventually be southwest and west. At noon, 88 degrees, temperature of 89 degrees. A bit more sunshine for tomorrow, it looks like, but we are trending drier, including the kind of drier that actually comes with lower humidity. 81 degrees in St. Pete, 81 Clearwater, 79 now Lakeland, also Winter Haven, 81 in Bradenton, 82 in Venice. And, of course, the wind speed, you saw this a couple of moments ago. Still some decent gusts, but persistent winds coming in at 15 in Clearwater, 12 in St. Petersburg, 13 in Lakeland. RPM forecast computer model Thursday morning, still breezy, still humid to start the day, maybe a few passing downpours, kind of like we're seeing now, but we'll slowly start to dry out here as we work drier air into the area once this storm clears the southeast. Thursday afternoon, quick moving downpours, breezy onshore winds, and again we see Friday morning drier air begins to move in with some patchy clouds into the region. Friday afternoon, a stray shower in southern spots, but the rain chances are definitely dropping over the coming days. Water vapor imagery kind of tells the story too. Red is a very nice place to be, and this is very dry air aloft, and you can see how quickly it's pushing into the northern part of the state of Florida. Friday especially, much drier air mass is being pulled in behind Michael, and that will set up much drier conditions at the surface as well. Lower humidity reflected in our 8-day forecast. This is really nice stuff. Locally, obviously, we're dealing with the storm, but getting some refreshing air on the backside of the storm, especially for Saturday, should set up a nice weekend. Warm temperatures, upper 80s, but the rain chances, we just removed them from the forecast because of the drier conditions in place. Rain chances will be back a little bit as we head into next week, but nothing too extreme as we're starting to get into mid part of October, head very quickly to the dry season in November. We'll look forward to that. This storm is one that made history, strongest recorded since 1851 landfalling storm in the Florida Panhandle, 3rd most intense in terms of air pressure on record.
We're going to remember this one for quite a while, I believe.
We will, and we'll get more once the sun comes up tomorrow, unfortunately.
Sure. Thank you.
Coming up next in sports, hockey will be played at Tampa Bay tomorrow. We'll tell you which player will be making his debut.
Plus, Taco Tuesday was pretty memorable for one member of the Bucs offense. We'll tell you who next.
And the Tampa Bay Heart Walk coming up November 10th at Raymond James Stadium. This year, Kane's Furniture matches the first $50,000 we raise. To join Stacy's team or make a donation, go to WFLA.com/heartwalk.
After a horrific performance, to quote head coach Dirk Cutter in Chicago, the Bucs will face division rival Atlanta on Sunday. And this defense has had an additional week to fix whatever happened against the Bears, and Jameis Winston will start for the first time this season. As we reported on Wednesday, offensive guard Ali Marpet signed a 6-year extension with the team. This would put him in Tampa Bay through the 2023 season. Marpet spoke about his major $54 million deal for the first time today, which included a rather humble celebration full of tacos.
It's phenomenal. My brother killed it, so I got to celebrate with my roommates, my girlfriend. It was a really good time. No other way I'd rather celebrate than Taco Tuesday.
I think anytime you can get guys on their second contract, you know, you draft them, and if they get a second contract, that means they panned out, they played well, and you know, you're happy to see guys earn their money.
How many tacos could you buy with $54 million? Well, on the injury front, tight end O.J. Howard looking good on the practice field. He suffered an MCL strain in Chicago and was supposed to miss 1 to 2 games. Did not look that way today. Defensive tackle Bo Allen also returned to practice. He hasn't played since week 2 against the Eagles after suffering a foot injury. From the NFL to the NHL, after a 4-day break, the Lightning just looking forward to playing their second game of the season. Game 1 against the Panthers lacked the high-scoring Bolts offense we're used to seeing. Only one shorthanded goal scored in that one, but Tyler Johnson is expected to return to the lineup against Vancouver tomorrow. He's actually going to shift to wing. Braden Point will play center on this line, a change aimed at spurring offensive momentum, and Johnson feels good to go against the Canucks.
Yeah, I feel good. You know, we've had a lot of good practices, a lot of hard practices, and you know, we've been doing a lot of different game-like situations. So I might have a little rust. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But you know, I'm playing with some really good players that are going to help me out, and hopefully we get back into it right away.
Puck drop, guys, tomorrow, 7:30. Bolts Canucks. He's ready to go. Thundertastic.
He's ready. All right. I'm glad you said it. Couldn't have said it better myself.
We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Go Bolts. And a final check on the weather, Steve.
Well, I will show you the radar so you can kind of see what's happening here with the storm, what's left of Hurricane Michael, which is still a Category 1 hurricane. Tornado watches are still up for that area, and they will continue to be here in the early morning hours as the storm is kind of wrapping up and creating some very heavy rain, as well as some pretty strong wind gusts. And you can't rule out a tornado here either in these rain bands. It's amazing, guys, to think that this made landfall before 2 o'clock this afternoon is still a hurricane in the central part of Georgia. Came with a lot of momentum, a lot of power, and despite the fact that it's moving so fast and covered so much distance, it's still a hurricane.
Yeah, and we're still going to have live coverage of Hurricane Michael overnight on our News Channel 8 Facebook page, just as a reminder.
That's going to do it for us. Have a great night.
Good night.